I was halfway through cleaning a rainbow trout, blade just slipping behind the gills, when I heard tires crunching over the gravel path behind me. Wrong sound for that time of day. Wrong sound for this part of the world, honestly. You know what I mean? When you live tucked up against the woods, you can hear every stranger a mile off. And this particular crunch had trouble written all over it. I wiped my hands on a rag, chucked the gutted fish in the cooler, and turned. And there she was, blonde bob, sunglasses that cost more than the transmission in my truck, standing there like she'd been appointed queen of the forest by executive order. I dealt with her kind back when I was still a ranger, city folks who thought buying a house on the lake meant they could run the world, armed with trail maps and attitude. But this wasn't some nature walk. This was my land, marked, deeded, and willed down from my father. Mr. Elliot, I presume, she called out, walking toward me with that forced confidence people get when they're trying to convince themselves as much as you. You presume right, I said, but instead of reaching for a weapon, though, trust me, the thought flashed through my mind, I just pulled my thermos from my pocket. The coffee was cold, tasted like last week's rain, but it grounded me. She didn't offer to shake hands, just stopped a polite distance away and cracked open a leather folder, already looking like she'd love to audit me. Karen Matterson, I'm president of the Lakefront Meadows Homeowners Association. You ever heard someone announce their title like they're about to knight you? That's what it sounded like. I took a slow sip and nodded. Don't remember signing up for that. She smiled, that tight, patronizing grin people use on children before they steal their toys. Well, technically, all parcels along the lake perimeter now fall under our management region. Community development, updated maps, the whole thing. She gestured at my cabin. Your structure here is subject to HOA compliance, several violations, unauthorized modifications, failure to pay dues. You're several years behind, Mr. Elliot. That right? I just leaned back against the porch rail, arms crossed, feeling my blood pressure spike, but refusing to show it. Last I checked, this land's been registered to the Elliott family since 1965. County clerk has the deed. Coordinates are older than your HOA, and probably your implants. Her jaw twitched. Progress, I guess. I stepped off the porch, slow and careful, letting her see I was calm, letting her know I wasn't scared. This isn't Lakefront Meadows. It's private, built by my father, maintained by me, and going to be passed down to someone who doesn't think nature needs a committee vote. Karen snapped the folder shut. You're being hostile, Mr. Elliot. No, I said. You're being delusional. She threatened penalties, assessments, even tearing the place down if I didn't comply. I told her she'd better show up with a badge or a warrant next time, or she'd be the one trespassing. And if she wanted to enforce something, she could do it in court. Her face went slack. People like her aren't used to hearing no. She didn't argue, just spun on her heels, sunglasses flashing, and stalked off. Only after her engine faded into the trees did I realize I'd been holding my breath. But deep down I knew this wasn't over. She'd be back, and not alone next time. I was gone for 1 week. 7 days out in the northern woods, running a survival training course, sunburned and half asleep, ready for my own bed. When I turned off the county road and started down the trail, something felt wrong. Too much light coming through the trees, shadows not right. I slowed to a crawl, and when I rounded the last bend, my world stopped. The cabin was gone. Not vandalized. Not burned. Gone. Just a churned-up patch of earth, tire tracks from heavy machinery, boards tossed around like kindling. My solar panel smashed, water barrel crushed, wind vane bent sideways. Near the center, a wooden stake with a laminated note. Structure removed per safety regulations. Site deemed non-compliant. Resolution filed. Yeah, that happened. I staggered out, hands shaking, checked the well. Someone had dumped insulation and broken glass into it. Even my outhouse was gone. They hadn't just bulldozed a cabin. They tried to erase it from history. Called the sheriff, who sent out Deputy Carson, a respectful young guy who listened, took pictures, read the note, and then whistled low. You got proof this place was yours. I handed over the manila folder. Deed, tax documents, survey maps, everything from the last 5 decades. Carson nodded, but told me there was a new parcel map, one that showed my land as part of the HOA's coastal perimeter overlay. Not possible, I said, and he shrugged, said to talk to a lawyer and the county. Oh, don't worry. I planned on both. That night I sat on the stump where my dad used to split kindling, watching the stars pop through the trees, hands clenched tight, telling myself I wasn't about to roll over. They thought I'd just go quietly. They had no idea what kind of fight they'd started. By dawn I was on the phone with Jeff Sloan, my lawyer, sharp, mean, and as tenacious as a pit bull, and then with the county records office. Sent Jeff the photos, the sign, the deed. His text came back, "We're going to war." While he prepped, I dug out the old trunk, Dad's surveyor maps, topo charts, and a black and white photo of the cabin going up, axe slung over Dad's shoulder. Scanned every page, then took the pile straight to the registrar's office. Waited for hours, then dumped it all on the counter. The clerk blinked at me like I'd shown up with the Dead Sea Scrolls. "Why does your map show my land as HOA property?" I asked. She clicked around, then said they'd gotten updated boundaries from, who else? Lakefront Meadows HOA. Verified by Brent Halley, the junior registrar, who just happened to be Karen's husband's godson. I didn't say a word, just smiled and walked out. Back at Jeff's office, we drafted up a monster of a lawsuit: destruction of property, trespassing, fraud, conspiracy. We weren't playing small claims. Meanwhile, my neighbor Russell, a retired teacher with a shiny new drone, emailed me footage. The whole demolition, clear as daylight. Karen herself supervising in a peach pantsuit, arms crossed while an excavator clawed through my roof. I felt sick. Jeff just grinned. This is gold. Within 48 hours we'd filed suit, and, to light a fire under them, I posted the drone footage online. Didn't name names, but it didn't take a genius to connect the dots. The story exploded. Local media picked it up, and then Lillian Jennings called. Investigative journalist, meaner than a junkyard dog and twice as smart. Met me at the site, poked around, called it a paper coup. She asked if she could run the story. I gave her everything. 2 days later, Lillian's segment aired on prime time. Footage of the demolition, shots of my deed, the original map, the fake map. Karen's title mentioned, if not her name. The HOA website crashed. My inbox filled with emails from people all over the state. Stories about stolen docks, fines for wildflowers, threats, intimidation. But then, just as fast, Lillian disappeared. No email, no call. Newsroom said she was on personal leave. But she'd left me a cryptic message. If anything happens, check drive folder. Ranger 1972. Inside were emails between Karen, Brent, and a local councilman, laying out the plan to redraw boundaries before anyone could fight back. I handed it to Jeff, who sent it straight to the district attorney. That afternoon I got a call from a detective in public corruption. That night, a brick crashed through my truck window, sticky note attached. Back off. Cute. The HOA's lawyers went into overdrive. Motions to dismiss. Counterclaims saying I'd threatened Karen. I hadn't. My body cam caught the whole exchange. Fake statements from board members who supposedly saw me brandishing a gun from across the lake. The judge tossed their claims out so fast I barely had time to enjoy it. Meanwhile, more neighbors came forward. Stories about Karen finding folks for wind chimes, Christmas lights, even the color of someone's mailbox. Then the ex-treasurer showed up with receipts proving Karen funneled HOA funds into her husband's businesses. The DA opened an official investigation. But the knockout punch came on a Friday night, when Lillian went live on the news, back from the dead. Audio recordings of Karen plotting, texts about neutralizing the media narrative, voice memos laughing about how easy it was to change county records. The broadcast went viral. By Monday, Karen was charged with fraud, abuse, destruction of property, her husband with conspiracy. The HOA board dissolved, leadership fired. 6 months of court battles, bank audits, witness statements, and by the end Karen took a plea. 9 years, parole at 5. The HOA was liquidated, their fancy office sold to a wildlife conservancy. The new owners put up a sign that read, "No cars, just cranes." Me? I rebuilt. The cabin's back, same footprint, stronger walls, bigger porch. Added a sauna. Neighbors, some I barely knew, came to help. One guy brought his daughter who wanted to build something real. She ended up sanding the whole porch rail. I carved her initials next to mine and my dad's. Right at the trailhead, I burned a new sign into a slab of cedar. Private land, not for HOA. It's a local legend now. Tourists take selfies with it. Someone made it into a meme. Even a biker gang asked if they could use it on their merch. I get invited to town halls, college classes, even a homeowners' rights convention. I call my talk, How Not to Get Bullied by Bureaucrats in Blazers. People laugh, then lean in for the real story. Lillian's show, Lines in the Sand, is a hit now. She brought a bottle of good whiskey to my cabin's reopening, said it felt like the end of a season of TV. She's not wrong. Sometimes I sit on my porch, boots up, whiskey in hand, and think how close I came to losing everything my father left me. All because someone thought paperwork could erase history. They were wrong. The forest remembers, and now, so does everyone else. So, what do you think? Where's the line between a community looking out for itself and folks abusing power for their own gain? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me your land story. Let's see where the next battle gets drawn.